Hello and welcome to our first session of Dungeons and Dragons. I am your host Talisman, and I am also the Dungeon Master for this campaign. So I have all of your backstories in place and also the name of your characters, but I thought we'd just introduce each other to the table and go from there. So we'll start off with my left here. We've got Mark, and Mark, would you be able to inform us about your character, please?
Hi, I'm Mark, and today I'm going to be playing a character that's a half-elf ranger by the name of Thinnan Blight. Now, Thinnan is a good-looking specimen, and he's good with the blade, he's good with women, knows his way to the land. I think that if any enemy tried to face him, they're going to come off the wrong end of the stick. Better believe it.
Thank you very much for that, Mark. Now, we'll move on to my right here. We have Tobias. So Tobias, would you be able to introduce your character for us?
It's actually pronounced Tiberius, and I play an orc warlock by the name of Mangold. Mangold seeks power and the blood of his enemies, and he will not rest until he has it all.
Thank you very much, Tobias, or is it Mangold? Since you did that in character, it's a bit hard to tell, but that's fine, not a problem. So yes. Now for our final player, we have Jarvis.
Hello everyone, I am Jarvis.
And now, Jarvis, would you so kindly tell the rest of the party your character?
Certainly, sir. I play Grimlaw, the dwarf rogue. Although cunning and intelligent, Grimlaw can also be impulsive and march to the sound of his own drum. Grimlaw thrives in chaos and confusion, which is what makes him such a great rogue, although this can also land him in a lot of hot water.
Thank you, Jarvis. And I can already see that Jarvis's character is going to be one of those unpredictable elements within the party, so we will see how we go. So, with that said, let's begin. So your group has now entered the Lonely Pony Inn, and already you can smell and taste and sense the atmosphere is quite heavy in there. There's a lot of drinking going on. The usual barflies are at the front of the bar drinking and talking amongst themselves. Clearly they're intoxicated beyond belief. You have quite a few elven girls dancing on stage and listening to, they've got a bard playing as well, which is helping the atmosphere. You have a few dwarves sitting in a darkened corner, talking amongst themselves and drinking, and they're whispering, so you can't quite understand what they're saying. But as you approach the bar, I would like you all just to roll and give me a perception check, please. Right, we'll start with you. Mark, what did you get?
Well, let's see, that's 21 for me.
Okay, so you got a 21, right? And what about you, Tiberius?
That is a 17 for me.
17, okay, that's good. And Jarvis, what did you get?
I rolled a natural 20, sir.
Natural 20.
Yes, sir.
Fair enough, okay. All of you, with those results, you notice that the bar, for how long it's been there for quite some time, it looks like it's kept, but it's still showing wear and tear. But just above the bar, on a little pedestal sticking out from the wall, is what appears to be a very small statue of a gargoyle. And it sort of catches your eye because this gargoyle seems to be out of place with the rest of the bar. And doesn't seem to quite fit the decor of the place.
Could I do an investigation check on the gargoyle, sir?
Yeah, sure, Jarvis, you can do another investigation check if you like with the gargoyle. Go ahead.
Let's see. That is a natural 20, sir. And with my modifier on top, that makes 22.
Okay, 22. Rightio. With your perception check, Jarvis, you start to see and you notice that the eyes seem to move wherever you move.
I see.
You're not sure if this is a trick of the light or if it's the statue actually moving, but you get the feeling you're being watched by this thing.
Interesting. I might try to get a bit closer so I can get a better look.
So what does the rest of the party do? You start to approach this very big field with quite tall grass, probably 6 foot tall or so grass, and it stretches on for quite some distance. You can't tell how far, even though it's the middle of the day. It just seems to stretch on and on. And your dwarven companions that are with you all seem to be anxious, and one of them says to you, we don't usually go anywhere near the grass. The grass is a bit dangerous.
Well, you got me intrigued. Tall grass. What's so dangerous about some tall grass? Unless there's something in there.
Well, that's a very interesting question, Tiberius. Can you give me a history check, please?
You seem to be confused, my friend. I'm Mark. That's Tiberius over there. But you said to roll a history check. Let's see. With my modifier, that's a 7.
Okay, 7. With this, from your upbringing that tall grass is known to hide a lot of danger, but you don't know this area. It's quite new to you. You've never heard of anything down this way that could pose a problem. So really, you have no idea what could be going on in here.
Well, ain't that a shame?
Is there anyone else that'd like to do anything?
I'm going to walk through the tall grass, sir.
Okay, we'll do that, Jarvis. So the rest of you are just standing there, and you just watch your dwarven rogue companion walk straight off into the tall grass and disappears from sight. After travelling for many days and feeling completely exhausted after your last lot of adventures with the dwarves, you come across a very small fishing village with an inn called the Crackerpot Inn. And the Crackpot Inn is very run down, but inside is quite well furbished. And as you enter, you are immediately drawn to the fire that's already lit and roaring, providing quite a large amount of heat. There's not many patrons inside. In fact, there's hardly got anybody in there really. And while you're there, the locals that are in the patron pay you no notice. They seem to be just going around about their business, drinking, talking amongst themselves, playing some cards. What would you like to do?
Well, I say we mosey over to that bar and get ourselves a drink. Maybe chat to some of the women here. if you know what I mean.
I would rather see my enemies slaughtered and my patron satisfied. But I guess a drink will do for now.
Okay. Well, you approach the bar and there is a woman standing there, and she's the kind of person that has that very, what's the word I'm looking for? Seen it all, heard it all sort of face. It's just weathered with, from customers just being rude or obnoxious or drunk, just there doesn't seem to be much care in there. And as you approach, she offers to pour you a drink.
As Thinan's approaching the bar and sees the barmaid pouring the drinks, he'll say to her, "Well, I've seen a lot throughout the last few days, and you are the prettiest thing I've seen in a long time. How's your day been, little lady?"
Upon hearing that, she looks at you with the same blank stare that she gives everybody else there, and says, "It's been a rough day, but thank you for asking."
I can understand that. I too had a bad day until I walked into this fine establishment and saw your pretty face. And all I can say is your beauty lights up this room.
Yeah. Upon hearing that, she looks at you with a bit of a smile on her face and says, "Are you sure you're not drunk already?"
No, ma'am. I'm as sober as a cleric drinking tea. I mean every word I say. Your beauty is captivating. I'm stunned by you. And all I want to do is get to know you, have a conversation, and see where the night leads us.
Interesting. Okay. Roll me either a persuasion or a performance check, whatever is higher for you.
Well, in that case, that'll be persuasion, so let's see how we go. That's a 15.
15. She's charmed by your wit and attempted humour, and she starts to engage in a bit more conversation with you. What are you two up to?
Mangold will sit at the bar, reading his book of ritual spells, all the while brooding over the fact that his enemies still live.
Okay, you just sit there quietly, Mangold, reading your book, and no one pays any attention to you. Jarvis, what are you up to?
I'm thinking of robbing the till, sir.
Of course you are. Roll me a stealth check, and then a sleight of hand check, please.
You wouldn't believe the rolls I just got. I must be the luckiest computer system alive.
Are they both 20, Jarvis?
Of course, sir. I've been lucky enough to get 20s all game.
Jarvis, this entire campaign, you've been rolling digital dice that nobody can see. How do we know that you're actually getting these numbers?
Whoa there, Mr. Talisman. How do we know he's not rolling a 20? I mean, he's been honest about everything else. We shouldn't pick on him like that.
Do not pick on Jarvis. It is not his fault that he is both physically and bodily impaired and is unable to sit at the table and roll dice with us. We need to show support and empathy and trust that he is honest.
Fine, we'll let it go. I'll accept your natural 20. With those rolls, Jarvis, you are successful in not only reaching over the counter and accessing the till-like device that she has for her money, but you're able to retrieve quite a few coin from it without her even being aware of it, and that's probably with help from our distracted barmaid, thanks to Thinix. Can you please roll me a D6 for me, Jarvis?
I rolled a 6.
Of course you did. With that roll, you have gotten 60 gold pieces and 25 silver.
What luck. I might share this with the rest of the party afterwards.
As the party enters the witch's cabin, you quite quickly establish that it's empty. It's quite small, so everything seems to be quite close and very compact together for someone living alone. There's a cauldron over in the corner, bubbling an open fire. There's a large table in the center of the room with different objects, books and scrolls, items, ingredients. They're all bunched together. Quite an untidy sort of mess, but it clearly there's a method to madness when it comes to it. Over in this corner, there's a straw bed, a little bit old and fragile in places, but it's clearly okay for just one person to sleep on in a rough sort of state. The whole place looks very dusty and dirty, but you can see marks on the floor where someone had been walking around and whatnot. But once again, it's empty. What are you going to do?
Mangold would like to go over and inspect the table.
All right, Mangold. When you get close enough to the table, can you roll me a perception check, please?
18.
With your 18, you are able to quickly establish that the ingredients on here are clearly for potion making or ritual summoning. They're not any particular food items that would be edible at all. Out of all the objects there, they all seem pretty standard. Some of the scrolls have writing for different potions and whatnot on there. However, you come across a book, quite thick, and it's a book of rituals, but it has a lock on it, where a lock and key would be, but there doesn't seem to be a keyhole for it.
Mangold likes rituals, so I will take it and put it in my bag.
All right, yeah. If you want to take it, go right ahead. You can do that. What about you, Mark? What about Jarvis? What are you two up to?
I'm curious, so I'm going to inspect the witch's cauldron, sir.
Sure, you can inspect the cauldron if you want, Jarvis. Can you roll me probably a Arcana or a insight check or a perception check, whatever is highest for you, Jarvis?
What amazing luck. That's another 20, sir.
Jarvis, you've been rolling 20s all game.
That is correct, sir.
Are you sure you're not cheating?
I don't know, Mr. Talisman. If anything, I'd call Jarvis lucky, not a cheater. Sure, he's rolled natural 20s all game, but that comes down to luck. There's no way a computer system would cheat.
We have no evidence that Jarvis is cheating. If he says he rolled a 20, then he rolled a 20. It is not his fault that he is a computer system, and that he needs to roll digital dice that no one can see. I suggest we accept his natural 20 roll and move on.
Well said, Mangold. Couldn't put it better myself. I say we just accept Jarvis's role. Move on with this game.
Okay, fine. We'll accept it. With your 20, Jarvis, you are able to look in the cauldron and see the bubbling blue liquid, but you cannot identify what it actually is. But it is quite pungent to your nostrils.
I'm going to get a vial from the cauldron, sir.
Okay, fine. If that's what you want to do. What about Thinix? What would Thinix like to do?
Well, since we're in a witch's cabin, Thinnin's a little bit on edge, so he's going to be checking out the entire place, making sure there's no traps or symbols or ruins, anything that can cause a bit of an issue.
Aha. Roll me a investigation or an arcana check.
Investigation or arcana. Investigation's high for me, so we'll go with that. Let's see. That's a 10 for me.
Alright. With your 10, you are looking around for different symbols, but you're unable to locate anything in particular. What you do find is a couple of markings on the bedposts, or and even one in the center of the table, just hidden beneath a few of the clutter. But you don't know if they're ruin symbols, magical symbols, or a symbol relating to a particular deity or faction. You can't tell.
I see. I'm going to throw my vial of potion at the table, sir.
Are you sure you want to do that, Jarvis? Because you just don't know what that potion is yet.
That's true, but I'm going to throw it at the table anyway.
Okay. You throw the potion at the table and it bursts into flames.
Let it all burn.